Howdy partner, does your Polaris pool cleaner need a full rebuild? Well, let's do it. Okay, the first step is going to be a careful disassembly. Now, you can take off these tires if you'd like, or you can just unscrew the wheels. You're not going to need a lot of specialized tools for this. Just basically a flathead screwdriver, a Phillips screwdriver, and a couple sets of pliers. So, give yourself room to work and start unscrewing the wheels. Now you want to pay careful attention to the order in which you do everything, and that way you don't have any trouble reassembling it. But try to keep this very organized and just slowly and methodically take everything apart. Now we've gotten the first the two wheels and the small wheel. We're going to go to this side, take off this one, and basically we're just going to strip this down and then rebuild it. Once you get that going, you're going to take this float off. Now the float, you could mark it with a marker wherever the float is currently. If the Polaris tracks well against the floor and doesn't tilt up or down, it's probably a good spot. It might need to adjust it. For this one, there's actually a stain from the water line. So we're just going to take that off. This could be cleaned off too, a little algae buildup there. But we did get a new float. And then we're going to take this clamp here, and we're going to unclamp the hose. And if you wanted to, you could mark where you have your screw here. The screw adjusts how much pressure comes out of the hose. But we're going to go ahead and pop this clamp off the back. All right. Pull off this. So the hose is now done. There's also a screw or a spring here, which we're going to take that off. On the bottom there are two main screws that hold in the entire body. Those are going to be Phillips head. So if you can get your screwdriver in there, you should be able to unscrew that one from the bottom, as well as this one. Nothing should be too hard to do, so don't force anything. You don't want to strip out all your screws or anything, even though we got some new screws with this kit. So then that's going to pop right off. This is your bottom piece. And then this right here is your mechanism. This is a unique cleaner because it uses the pressure of the water to circulate through and cause that suction to suck everything in through the bottom hole and into the bag. And then this is the tail spray here. So this is pretty much the part right here that you're going to leave intact. Meaning it doesn't have replaceable parts, but everything else in here is replaceable. So now we're going to take the top off of it as well, because there's also a top cover, which again has a Phillips head screw right here in the top. And this right here is the heart of the machine. So the next we're going to do is going to be to take off these two screws right here, as well as this cap here, which will reveal the axle, and these two. Nothing should be overly hard to pull. Don't want to break any of the plastic, especially if it's older. So now we're going to take off this right here, which holds down the axle lock, and this axle right here, as well as this entire wheel piece here, here, and here. You're going to see that two of the new wheels you get have a hard back, and one of them does not. So you want to make sure that your hard backs go where the hard backs are coming off, which is here and here. Then the one that doesn't goes right there. So now with all that done, you should be able to take out your old axle. Set that aside. What we're not going to do just yet is going to be this last front wheel. We're going to leave that on to remind us which one was the wheel without the plate on it. This is pretty much all you are not replacing is just this right here. This you are keeping, along with the cap for the bottom and the top. Pretty much everything else is getting replaced. This is why it will work like a brand new unit, because essentially it is a brand new unit. So this is your old axle. This is your new axle. You'll see that it has these plastic tubes on it. These are spacers. You leave these on. They're not for protection, they're spacers. So then you're going to take the new bearings, which come with it, and you're going to slide one onto the front and one onto the back. And you'll see that now you should have exactly matching from the old one and the new one. Other than this one's going to work a lot better. This one you see has been rusted, and it's actually gotten a lot of the teeth have been chipped away, so it's not doing as well as it used to. And then utilizing those screws that you just took out, you're going to screw it back together. I'm going to put that plate right back here as well to protect. Now we want to put back on those two wheels that have the plates on them, and it came with screws and a kit that says wheel kit screws that are going to have this little nut or washer as well as a plate, and you can use that to attach it back. So I'm going to prep these screws with these plates. So the drive shaft needs to go into one of these half circles. These go into one of these half circles, and it should be about half the way in the teeth, maybe 3/4 way in the teeth. And you may have to spin this so that the block here is oriented correctly. So when we look at it this way, we say, okay, the drive shaft's going in there between the teeth, and then we want to spin the wheel till we get it set right there, which we have. We are then going to take one of those plates. I'll do my best to show you what we're doing. And we're going to put this plate right there. I'm going to have to put it this way for a second, along with the screws. Okay, as you can see, maybe the drive shaft is right here into that opening. And then we put the plate there, and we tighten it down. And then when this turns, the axle should turn the wheel, which it is turning the wheel. And there should be no resistance. It turns it very easily. Put this through the opening. And start these screws in. If you have one of these screws that's kind of worn out or stripped out, that's probably okay. You know, you keep it attached. Eventually, you can wear out all the other pieces of the system, like the plastic housing and whatnot. This one's getting a little trouble biting in, but this one's still pretty tight. So just do what you can. Try not to strip it, but as it gets older, eventually the entire unit may need to be replaced. But for now, we're just going to keep rebuilding it. And then we're going to work on the spring that's in between those two with this wheel, and making sure that we get that situated just right. So let's move on over to the next job. So we come from behind and take off this screw that's in the back here. And we have this piece here. This just snaps in. Well, so this here slides out, but this piece snaps in. So you have some snaps in the back. So you can just take some needle nose pliers and squeeze the back of it, and that should allow it to pop out like that. This little tiny one is going to be the new screw for the spring. So I want to put that on first. So you're going to put this spring with the screw through it. Now you can snap this new piece in. It's just going to pop right in like that. Then you're going to put your old one right here. Along with this locking piece that you're just going to work right in here. So this thing is free. Attach that in the back. Okay. So you see this can move freely. And then what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to figure out the screw tension here. Once you do that, then this should be nice and tight, which it does well. Before we start putting this entire action back together, you want to check and make sure that you have a good connection with these wheels, like we said before. Because if not, we could slide them a little bit backward or forward. I do want to slide this back wheel just a little bit backward, so a little more teeth. So there's no skipping. That's what you want, no skipping. Which comes with the wheel and ball bearings. And you see this will spin freely. If that's not spinning freely, then take it off and redo your bearings. Just try not to drop those little bearings in there, the BBs, and then this will move. And this is going to clamp between those two wheels, which is what's going to help the entire system to work right. So we can sit this on like this and see how it's fitting. And then we're going to put the two screws in the bottom that hold the bottom plate on. Okay, so this is not what we want. We don't want either of these to be able to spin freely. We want this wheel to be contacting both the wheels. So this one here in the back, when I spin this, you can see that we're spinning these two wheels and the idler, but we're not really spinning this back wheel. So what we need to do is we need to loosen this back wheel's two screws, and then we need to slide that forward more. Okay, so once that's all in there, this should still have a little bit of spring to go down, but then when it's connected, all three wheels should all turn at the same time without any skipping. So you just have to tighten things up till it does that. See a little bit of this, just rust and stuff on here that I've done, but we've got all three of them turning. So now we're ready to put this top back on, which you remember you kind of finagle that over this way. And it's got a single screw. I take this new hose, and you know, with your hose that you're having to pull, it should feel like this. It should feel super soft. If it's stiff and you're getting a lot of tangles, it's probably because you need a new hose, which is another piece that you can replace. So you want to push this on. First put on your clamp. Then you're going to push this onto the hose section. If you have trouble, you can certainly take this and you can dip it in warm water, which will help it to slide on there better. But once you get up where you need, then you're just going to clamp it by squeezing this together, and you'll hear it click. You want this tail to sort of wag like a dog, but not super fast. You want nice, smooth, long wags the whole time, and that will brush the bottom of the pool. So I'm going to squeeze this just one or two with these pliers. Okay, I think we're pretty well locked. We're going to go back to the float, new float. I had the line here, otherwise you could have marked it. And if your old float was taking on water or anything, it may actually need to be adjusted once you get in a pool. And finally, we have a brand new bag. So just like that, we have rebuilt the entire Polaris 280. Not a whole lot to it. We're now going to put it back in the pool, and I am really excited to watch it start working like brand new again. We took this off of the hose, so we're just going to put the hose on, screw that back on, and we should be good to go. Let's check it out in the pool. Now you see it's in the pool. We've adjusted a little bit. The tail's still kicking a little too hard. Maybe need to turn down that screw. but it is walking nice and fast. It's picking everything up. The bag's already getting half full of all the leaves down there. Nice and level, and overall, we'll now get a few more years, hopefully, out of this Polaris 280. It's now been about 2 weeks since we filmed it on the bottom of the pool, and this has been working awesome. The pump just turned on. It is ready to clean. The full rebuild kit was definitely worth it. This thing has cleaned up all the leaves. You can see the pool is pretty spotless, and it's just doing a great job. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you appreciate this video and want more pool how-to or just general home how-to stuff. Remember, all these projects, if I can do it, you can too. Thanks for watching.